false confessions can be obtained a lot of different ways, and people do plead guilty to things that they didn't do. So I just wish people would pay attention more, because that's a real thing.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
Thank you so much for having me again. I wanted to say, by the way, you like to go through and say personal greetings to people. And I saw so many people tonight saying hi to me personally. So I can't even remember all the names. They flew by so fast, but I'm feeling very blessed tonight to see just how many of your people recognize me and look forward to us being together. So thank you so much for everyone that took the time. I wish I could call you out all by name. I tried to do my best hyping it, but thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you this. So I know I was joking around when I said I put that comment on the screen saying it's going to be the first question that I ask you, is Brian guilty? Okay. Let's take it a step further. Whether he's guilty or not, one of the things we've discussed is if you're guilty and the investigation infringes on a right, there's an overstep, there's an overreach, there's a mistake, where are we at morally? Is it right to let a guilty man go free to not set a precedent that will affect countless? Or is it, well, yeah, we messed up, we broke the law, doesn't matter, we found you guilty? Where are you at on that?
Even if you're guilty, if you had to break the law to get you convicted, then I would rather that guilty person walk and you learn how to do better policing and better job on prosecution, because I never want to see an innocent person go to jail for something they didn't do. And if you get away with breaking the law to put people away, then I would rather see some guilty people walk than one innocent person go to prison.
I think the reason why is really not about the people involved as much as you got to hold the law enforcement and the courts accountable, right? That's really what it comes down to, is you guys should know that they could walk. And it seems like there are mistakes that are made, depending on the severity of it, where they don't need to affect it. It's not like every little technicality, right? But, like Miranda rights. You got to read that. Otherwise, you're done. They never read. Like, that's the simplest mistake. And people walk because of that.
Right.
So, planting DNA, lying about chain of custody, to me, is where then I absolutely share the same perspective as you do.
And we were talking about a case called the yogurt shop murders back in the 90s. Yeah. So, and there was 4 girls that were murdered and sexually assaulted and murdered in the back of a TCBY or ICBY. And it was funny because there was two false confessions in that case. 2 guys said that they did the crimes and they did not do them. 30 years later, they find the real criminal who really did it, or at least one of the real criminals who really did it. The DNA proves that these guys didn't do it and had to let them go. And the same question gets asked, like, well, why the hell would they plead guilty if they didn't do it? It happens all the time. People don't realize it's ridiculous. People really are just mentally blocked with this idea that guilty or innocent people do not plead guilty. Two people in that case pled guilty to something they did not do and could not have done. But they there was law enforcement tactics that were used. In that case, they were not particularly maybe the sharpest guys in the world, but because sometimes that factors in. But false confessions can be obtained a lot of different ways, and people do plead guilty to things that they didn't do. So I just wish people would pay attention more. That's a real thing.
Yeah, well said. I mean, I always think of the Making a Murderer.
Yeah,
false confession, or I guess with Brennan. And that's just tough to watch.
That kid. I mean, I've had people tell me, oh yeah, for sure that those 2 guys did it, so don't feel sorry for them. But watching that documentary, that kid got railroaded, and you can see the interrogation yourself, and you're like, that's disgusting what happened.
All right, this one comes from Julia. Now this, Julia came across this on Translucent's page. It was the North Carolina police report with names. So I don't know if you remember hearing about that dude who had hitchhiked across the country right after the murders happened, and he got all the way out to North Carolina. He went to the sheriff's department and he made a complaint. He's like, I had to get out of there. They were going to blame that on me. Have you heard this?
Oh, no, I did not hear that story. That's crazy. I thought I'd heard everything with this case.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this. So I'll read the police report at the bottom here. On November 22nd, 2022 at 1:30 p.m., Richard Anthony Colameco entered the Randolph County Courthouse wearing blue jeans and a gray sweatshirt, carrying a black backpack and a sleeping bag. Mr. C requested to speak with a deputy to make a tip regarding a homicide. Deputy Walton, advised him that he could report the tip directly to the sheriff's office by contacting Crime Stoppers or communications. Mr. C stated he did not have a phone and was walking because he just, quote, hitched rides down here this week from Idaho. I asked Mr. C where the crime occurred, and he stated, quote, Moscow, Idaho, where all those kids were killed, end quote. I offered to call the Moscow Police Department and report the tip for him. And then I've never seen the second half of this report. So
here's the thing. Like, I think in any given case, when they open up the tip lines and say, we want any and all tips from the community, crazy shit happens. People start coming in with, they want to be the one to broke the case, especially if there's money on the line or a reward or whatever. And so it's a double-edged sword for them to say, hey, we want tips from the community, because everybody and their dog, and even mentally unstable people who just want attention, who want to feel like they're important, you know, people will falsely admit, hey, I was the killer, just so they could try to get their fame involved in the whole thing. So it's, who knows? I'd have to know that guy's story a little bit more, but see, I was trying to avoid just the tip comment, and somebody else didn't know.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. So
oh yeah, see, I let that shit go. But you got a bunch of immature fucking people in your audience. Is what's going on?
A bunch of children in here.
Freaking grow up.
Yeah,
grow up.
Right. Yeah,
a bunch of children in here.
I mean, dude, but if you think about it, man, I mean, so 2,500 miles in under 42 hours, you're moving pretty good for hitchhiking and shit. So
you did like a Forrest Gump thing. I just run, Forrest.
Jesus Christ. I love the meme of Forrest Gump when he's on the shrimp boat and he's like waving, you know. Have you ever seen that? For golf, people are like, when you see the cart girl after not seeing her for like 12 holes, and it's like all the guys standing like, hey, we're over here. I don't know why. That's funny. So this is super interesting. This came from Dana, and Dana found this on the general discussion thread of Moscow murders. This is the only time that I've ever seen this, was this Hive Mind find that Dana Allen had sent. So it says, I have software that studies retail foot traffic. Basically, it uses cell phone pings from various locations. You type in a target, and it shows the number of visitors to target, shows approximate location where the pings go next and where they come from. It works for any address, honestly. You just have to create a POI for non-retail areas. So I created a POI, basically a box around the 1122 King Road house, plus or minus 100 feet or so. Then I went back 6 months, and I noticed that there were a lot of pings from the house to the dentist office. It has to ping at both locations for it to work. Well, I noticed that over the last 6 months, the 10th most visited place post the house, so meaning when you left the house, was this dentist office, aside from normal retail places. Unless someone in the immediate area was working there, then it's odd. Interestingly, if you go back and compare with January and June, there are no visits or pings on either spot. More interestingly, I searched the dentist office, and one guy is a Navy vet, says the knife was one that may be frequently the choice of military folk. Also, lots of late night pings originating from both areas as well.
Huh.
Well, what I wanted to do here is go onto Google Earth. I don't even know what I'm going to do if one of these dentist office is now permanently closed. Right? I mean, that would be the craziest thing ever. All right, so let's do dentist office, Moscow, Idaho.
See, you're braver than me. Like I can't pull up my internet search and start typing in stuff with the pre-filled in information. You never know what might pop up on my screen.
Oh, I think we could guess, DA, something like tickle bitties.
So they're trying to say that things were pinging at the house and the dentist office.
Yeah, the exact words were, okay, when I created this box around the home of plus or minus 100 feet, and then I went back 6 months, I noticed that there were a lot of pings from the house to a dentist office. Well, if he did it plus or minus 100 feet, my question now is, are there apartments that are really close to this place, right? That would make sense for foot traffic more than retail. Am I wrong in thinking that isn't there apartments that were relevant over here at some point?
Yeah, I think so, but
yeah, I could have swore that there was like apartments that people had said they lived in, or they like where they parked. This comes from Paul Daddy. What is it with people in the Hive? I've said this last time that this came up. What is it with we have Daddy Jones? We got Paul Daddy. I mean, it feels a little bit weird, maybe just because. Never mind. You know what? I'm moving on. So okay,
never mind.
Yeah. All right. So, hi, Birdie. I've always thought a gun was used ever since I saw the police clearing the house. The first photo, if you zoom in, you can clearly see that there's a high velocity impact pattern. I've seen a photo showing this, and other thing that convinces me is Maddie's room from outside. You can see that they have cut pieces out of the wall. This is telling there was bullets in the wall. Keep up the good work. So I have wondered about this too. Like what would this possibly be needed for up here? Again, if what they say happened, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff. They had I can't remember who the guy was, but There was a guy that specialized in trajectory of bullets and stuff like that that was brought in on the case, which made you wonder about the whole thing too. Like, I don't know. Like, are they just citing stuff? Are they just getting? Are they just using for measuring distances with that? I can't tell what he's actually using there in that picture in the corner.
Sherlock just asked you, will you do a new Idaho 4 theory video with all this new info?
That'd be kind of cool. I might have to do that.
That would be fun. Cat's Mojo submitted this one, and it said, this is from Cool Her Lucher. If Brian committed the crime, then the plea deal is the best option for him. He lives, right? But if Brian committed the crime, then why would the prosecution agree to a plea deal? A massive global high-profile case like this, they got their man. Their case is so strong, they're sure to win, right? Sends a message to everyone. Restores faith regarding the safety of Moscow. The economy is saved and restored. Students return to the University of Idaho because their admissions have taken a hit. The return of a win at trial is immense for Idaho. The cost of the trial is a fraction of the return of status, branding, and potential financial investment into the state. They did the plea bargain because their case is circumstantial and it curtails the defense's voice and narrative from having a global platform. There was a risk of losing, going to trial. They couldn't control the outcome. Legally, in a public arena, under the spotlight, being scrutinized, right? So, if Brian is innocent, the plea deal is the best and only option available at this time to secure a favorable outcome for him. The most important, that he lives. He's not killed, right? But because there is no trial and there is no judgment, no summary based upon evidence presented at trial, then all this evidence is up for new presentation, right? Brian has options: ineffective counsel, presenting new evidence to exonerate him. That will be wrapped up in exculpatory evidence and the alt perps, right? The DNA especially. Also, procedural error and prosecutorial misconduct, the grand jury representation or the grand jury presentation. If I was to place a bet, then I would predict that the defense already have the exculpatory evidence. What they need was more time in relation to their theory regarding the alt perps, or they realized that Hitler was going to suppress that, and or they did not want to show their hand. This is what Thompson was trying to sniff out. The defense case has been focused upon delay for a reason, discovery, and the need for more time. Taking the plea deal removes Hitler. They now have to get the case out of Idaho. Can that be done?
I want to comment on a lot of what you said. So
yeah,
I do believe Ann Taylor knows there's exculpatory evidence that would have helped Brian Kohberger. And I do believe Ann Taylor was flat out told by Hitler he will not allow her to bring it into the courtroom. And I do believe that she tried to beg him for a route to get it in, right? So like, for example, with the alt suspects, the alt perpetrators, a weird rule is that you need to have actually more evidence to bring in an alternate suspect than you do to accuse Brian Kohberger in the first place. You almost have to be able to prove. So for the alternate suspects, you have to be able to prove they could have been there and could have done the crime, which is even higher standard than what they had to prove for Brian Kohberger, where they literally said, we can't place him at the house. We're not sure how he picked the house. We're not sure he knows the girls. They could just accuse him. There's a higher standard to bring in the alternative suspects. And Hitler was saying, if you're going to bring in an alternative suspect, you need to show that the person could have committed the crime and that they had motive to do so, which is more than they would have even had to have shown for Kohberger. So it's really stacked against you for not even bringing in the alternative suspects. And Taylor, I think, knew that she had an uphill battle to even bring up an alternative suspect because of the rules. And she was trying to find a way to get Hitler to say, and he kind of did say, okay, if you're not going to let me bring up the alternative suspect, can you at least let me start questioning law enforcement on the stand about certain things, and if they open themselves up to our alternative suspects, then we'll go that route. And he did say, yeah, if during the course of your cross interrogation, you can get an officer essentially to trip up and say something and open the avenue for you to bring in your alternative suspect, you could. So where I'm going with that is this. I think Ann Taylor does know an alternative suspect. I think she does know what exculpatory information Bethany Funk has. I think she does know, and Hitler was not going to allow her to bring it into the courtroom. And she was trying to find a way to bring it in. And when she finally realized there was no way Hitler was going to allow her to bring it in, that led to them saying, we're going to have to take a plea because we're just flat out not going to be allowed to bring in the who actually did it or who we think might have done it, or even if it wasn't who did it, the exculpatory information to say it could have been somebody else, and here's the reason why it could have been somebody else.
Why would you have to do anything other than just show you didn't do it? Isn't it you plead your case as to, I am wrongfully being accused of this crime, 12 of your peers go and find yes or no?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, what you're asking is a difficult question because he did have the right to say, I didn't do it, prove I did it. And he has the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. All that got effed when he said, yeah, I did it. And nobody forced me to say I did it. I did it. So that you're right. And this is why I told you, I'm so upset when I'm in the courtroom and Hitler says, I want you to hear what they would have had to have proven. Hitler knows they would have had to have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it. And it was almost like Hitler was saying, I want you to understand, they would have had to prove to a jury beyond reasonable doubt that you did it. And I want you to hear them tell you what they have, which was Bill Thompson getting up and saying, we can't place him at the house. We can only place him near the house. It's a super circumstantial case. We don't have proof of anything. And it's like, and he heard all of that and said, yeah, I did it. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell he was thinking. Like, he literally was having the judge tell him they have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt and they can't, but he still took the plea. So then it asks you what else is going on.
Well, and here's what's confusing too. When you bring up Hitler, I felt like Hitler, outside of the leaks, right, and questioning and kind of pressing the state on the leaks, I felt like Ann Taylor was running up against a brick wall with him, and he would almost counter her in the middle of this, like, and kind of rattle her. Not saying she was rattled, but I'm saying I don't know how it wouldn't be rattling if I'm in the middle of making my point. I'm trying to find the exact exhibit numbers, document numbers, and you got Hitler going, yeah, like that voice that noise he'd make, and it's like, dude. So okay, here's another question then. Legally, how, in what way could this have been the most beneficial thing for Bryan Kohberger to do, to just say that? Is it that he protects his evidence or exculpatory evidence? If they really did, according to, if we're going to go off of what Katz Mojo from Cooler Lucher said on this comment, he's not showing his hand. So he really has shown none of his hand. They've just tested evidence. They've told the story. Although the prosecution did also say, we're not even going to try to theorize or some shit like that. What do you think about that?
I mean, so I think to get to, I think I can understand what your question is. I think if Bryan Kohberger knows that there's information that could have come, okay, how do I explain this? If Bryan Kohberger knows there's information that could come out that will prove he couldn't have done it, but Hitler was making it clear he wasn't going to allow that to come in, then follow the logic. If it ever does come out, even outside the trial, that Bryan Kohberger could not have done it, I don't care what deal he made, it's off the table. If it can be proven that Bryan Kohberger could not have done what they said he did, regardless of him signing a piece of paper saying I did it, he will walk, because you can't convict somebody of something they could not have done. So if Kohberger knows that there's something out there that's going to exonerate him, is going to prove it, then he could, if he's that brave of a person, sign a confession and say, yeah, I did it, and just wait for that information to get released, and then he'll walk when the information comes out proving he couldn't have been there. But I'm not saying that's what the case is, but that would be a scenario in which I'll sign it because Hitler's not going to allow us to bring it in, but somebody else will bring it in, and we'll get it in a different way, and then I'll walk. But,
and to Cookie's Corner, 420's point, they said, jury would have to be able to critically think, and that's not common anymore. I actually had this exact thought about a jury about 2 days ago driving, DA. Do you know roundabouts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched this woman stop at every single opening of a roundabout. Like,
oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, that person would be on a jury. So everything under this red line is not guilty. So think of that standard.
Right.
It's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, not guilty, highly likely, not guilt likely, not probably guilty, possibly guilty, suspected, perhaps, may not be, possibly not, unlikely, preferably not, probably not, less than likely, highly unlikely, proven not guilty. Okay. That should be a really high burden of proof.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And it's designed that way. It's designed to give the benefit of the doubt to the accused.
I mean, we have to also look at human nature. Bill Thompson is about to retire. Let's say, even if before this case, he was probably coming up with 33 years as a prosecutor. Like, you're probably getting close to the end of your career. Wouldn't you want to go out on a banger? Wouldn't you want to go out on something that's rock solid? This defined his entire career. Yeah. He struck out big time. And if it's not fully believed yet in the public, mark my words, DA, it will be in the next couple of years. It'll be known what happened in this case. I truly believe that the truth is going to come out. And the other encouraging thing is that the media, at the same time, they're not sweeping this under the rug, DA. They're still choosing to cover it. Why are you choosing to follow Brian Koberger? And now you're saying he's fighting paying the restitution, or you're leaking his complaints, all this stuff.
Somebody was asking that when you were away too, and they wanted my opinion about Koberger fighting the restitution. What are your thoughts on the Koberger fighting the restitution?
I don't know if it's weird to fight paying the restitution if you're not. I don't know. What do you think? I guess I don't really have an answer. I guess I'm saying, actually I do. I'm not surprised that people would fight that from behind bars. Like, what is he's in jail the rest of his life. Like, what's he going to do? Go work?
Well, that's my point. Like, part of me was thinking, like, why would you fight the restitution? What do you give a shit if you're in jail for the rest of your life? Who cares if they tell you owe $10 or you own $10 million? You're never going to be able to pay it off. You're never going to have a real job. When you do work in prison, you're not working to make money. You're working because you want to get out of your jail cell and you're bored and you want to have something to do. Those jobs aren't because you're going to make money. So what does it accomplish by saying, well, I don't want to pay the families this kind of money? So I've been trying to really noodle, and unfortunately I didn't spin the cycles to figure out under what reasons would he have for fighting the restitution fines, because other than, and I don't know the law on this, and usually I'm pretty good about the law, but other than if he somehow gets out of jail, if he somehow gets exonerated through some kind of evidence that comes forward that proves he couldn't have done it, do the fines that have been levied about him still stand in some weird ass way, in some kind of scenario in which he would want to have those cleared so that if he gets exonerated, he doesn't owe people shit? But I don't know how you could exonerate somebody and not also cancel all of the civil penalties that went along with it. But then again, you hear civil matters are different than criminal matters. So is the money part a civil lawsuit? See, this is where I wish I knew the law better. This is when we need Ali Benevento on here right now, because is the restitution part a civil suit? And the murder is a capital murder, a criminal suit. So therefore, even if it's exonerated and that's what happened to OJ, right? OJ Simpson was exonerated for murder, but he lost a civil suit and had to pay the families tons of money, and it bankrupted him. So is that the situation that's happening? If Brian Koberger gets exonerated for murder, will he still face the civil suit? And so he's fighting the civil money. That's what it feels like.
So it says the big question. I typed in that question as you were talking, and it says the logic kind of gets tangled because the statutes talk about defendants who are found guilty and the victims of crimes. If you're exonerated, you weren't found guilty or your conviction was overturned, so the usual mechanics may not apply exactly the same. The restitution, this is for Idaho law, by the way, says that if the defendant is found guilty of any crime, shall, unless, quote, make restitution. If the conviction is reversed or dismissed, that, quote, found guilty bit changes status. There's a fine statute of 19-5307, it likewise applies when the defendant is found guilty. So if you were later exonerated, the baseline assumption that the defendant is guilty is undermined. The new compensation law for wrongful convictions shows the state recognizes exonerees are a special case, but it seems separate from the restitution or fine mechanics. It gives relief. It doesn't say automatic removal of fines. Oh man, that could get hairy too.
Yeah. So if he can be exonerated but not reduce the fines in any kind of scenario, then fighting the fines is necessary, because if you get exonerated, you don't want to get exonerated and then be bankrupt the rest of your life because you still owe the family's money for something that you've been exonerated for. It's a weird question, but
well, and the girl from Texas, April, says if he's exonerated and has a wrongful conviction, will the state owe him? That's what I was wondering then. Like, does the state just pay off that balance and then reimburse the wrongful convictee, right?
And again, I wish I knew the law, but I will tell you this: in the case of the documentary Outcry, where a gentleman did spend time in jail for something he didn't do and was exonerated, they had to pay him something like $800,000 in restitution for wrongful imprisonment and sticking him away. But again, that might be independent of any civil lawsuits that he might have lost against people. So they do pay them for their time that they stuck him behind bars, but that's maybe independent. Like, this is where we need a lawyer on here.
You know what we should do, DA? You and I should pre-record a video. And I saw that Mr. Beast did this. He made a video and he said, he's like, right now I have 8,000 subscribers. I'm going to schedule this video for 10 years from now. So this will go out in 2025. And he goes, man, I hope I have 1 million subscribers. He's like, he says, what if I'm dead? He's like, oh man, I hope I'm not dead. Now you look at, he's got like 440 million subscribers. He's the biggest name of YouTube. But I'm like, you and I should do that for like a prediction of this case and release it in 10 years.
I just came up with a brainstorm. I don't know if I want to I'm nervous saying this. I got a brainstorm. Are you ready?
Yeah, say it.
You record and give me the recording. You giving your prediction of what the current condition is in Brian Koberger's case 1 year from today, and you give it to me, so you have no way to back out of it, I will push that video 1 year from now, and you can't take it back. What you said is, here's what the situation is today. This was my prediction a year ago. Here's what was happening today. I'll do the same, give you that video that you can push out without me being able to retract it. And then we'll see like how embarrassing it is for our predictions to be aired live a year from now. Would that be kind of cool? Scares the shit out of me in a way, but it's kind of cool.
So October 27th.
No, let's do it on the anniversary. Let's do it on the anniversary.
Okay,
November 12th,
okay.
right? So
Okay.
the next anniversary of the Idaho 4, where are we now? We'll make our prediction and send each other the file so we can't back out of it, and then we'll air it and make them face the music in front of people about how far off you were and what you think the situation is.
What should be the stipulations of this? Like one theory, like one trial of like, you know, we should lay out, here's where I think we're going to be. Here's why I think we're going to be. And then do we give like, right now, my number one theory on what happened is this.
Yeah, something. I mean, yeah, we let's work out the details, but something like this, like if you think, for example, Brian Koberger is going to be killed in jail and he's not going to be alive for a year from now, that's what you're going to say. At this time, Brian Koberger is not alive. He was killed 3 months after he was in prison, beaten to death, whatever. You give that prediction and you tell people what you think is going to happen, and that was just an example. And just tell us, or you say Brian Koberger is about to be exonerated. It's come out now that he's going to have a new trial, but whatever you think is going to be the case, 1 year from November 12th, 13th, when the murders happened, we'll do that and see who came closest on that trial. That'd be fun, I think. Or it scares the piss out of me on how bad we were wrong. But
and what's the wager on this?
Ooh, yes, a wager. Oh my gosh, a wager. I love it. I don't know. We should let the audience pick with the wager. Like do a shaming thing. Like the audience should pick something that we have to be ashamed of.
Why couldn't we just do like $100? You know, like
we could, but is that fun? Like, what if we have to, I would have to, anyways, I don't even want to give people ideas, but you're right, $100, I could do $100.
I was going to say, you have to give me that waitress's number you got at Twin Peaks, and I get to text her 10 texts from your phone.
Oh no. When I said what an ass, I wasn't talking about myself.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Now I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. I mean,
oh my God.
And we should, dude, that could be fun.
Could be fun. We got to think this through before we commit, but it seems like a pretty fun idea.
There's some people in here that don't know the Twin Peaks story.
Oh God.
DA was out at the plea hearing, correct? Or the sentencing?
Yeah. The change of plea. Yep. The change of plea. Yeah.
And so DA he was like, I'm hungry. I need to go get lunch. I got to look up I need like a bar burger or something. Right. And DA ends up picking this place called Twin Peaks. Now, DA was not aware of what Twin Peaks is. And this here concludes my preamble. I will then let him carry this story away.
I went in there to have a burger because it got really good reviews. It was a great restaurant to go to. But I did not realize it was like a Hooters. So when I walked in there, the girls are wearing shorts and showing a lot of cleavage in their tops. But as I had lunch there, the young, pretty waitress, and I knew I'm not dumb enough to know that no 20-year-old female with tiggle bitties and short shorts is going to be looking for a hoochie daddy, a sugar daddy. But she's all being super friendly with me because the place was dead. It was dead. So she's like, hey, what are you doing? And she literally like half sits her ass on my seat to sit there and talk to me. What are you doing? What are you in town for? We know what. And I'm like, hey, I'm just here for checking out the Kobergers thing. Oh, really? You're into the Brian Koberger thing? She goes, I happen to know that my sister dates the guy that dated Kaylee and was with him at the corner club that night. And I'm like, and at first I thought to myself, I can't believe that just happened. And I let it go. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool. And she walks away. So so I had to like summon this inner confidence. And she came back and she's like, so how's your food or whatever? And I said, hey, it's really good, but can I ask you about that Idaho 4 story again? Like you said, somebody. Yeah. So she sat down and she talked. And she got me so distracted that when I left, and I was so excited, I gave her my business card. I got her number. She literally gave me her phone number. I said, you want to put your phone number in my phone? And had it not been for the fact that this was purely a business transaction, I would have felt like a dirty old man. But I'm like, hey, would you put me your phone number in my phone? And she's like, sure. So she puts it in there. I'm watching other people out of the corner of my eyes that are looking at me like, how the fuck did that old dude get that chick's number? Because they have no clue. They're not listening to the conversation. They're thinking I'm the biggest player in the world, which really helped with the confidence game. I got to tell you anyways. So anyway, she gives me the phone number. I tell my wife, hey, by the way, I went to a bar and I got a 20-year-old's phone number. I'll be home in a little bit. That went really well as well. But anyways, in my excitement, I left the bar and I forgot to tip her. And so I texted her on my phone as I was leaving and I was well down the road. Oh my God. I realized I didn't give you a tip. What an ass.
Oh, what an ass.
Was it right? What an ass. I said, I didn't give you a tip. I said, what an ass. And after I sent that, I thought, she's literally wearing short shorts and she's probably thinking I just said I should have tipped you because you had a great ass. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I had to write back and I'm like, no, what I said, what an ass. I meant that I didn't give you a tip, not. And so you're like, dude, you're just making it worse. And I was going to leave that whole shit out, not talk about Twin Peaks, but you're like, hey, Lee was at Twin Peaks and just told somebody chick that, what an ass.
Well, it was funny because the way that I love that story because you're like, oh my God, I just said what an ass, and then you correct it, and then I thought you were going to go back again and recorrect it and say not that you don't have, and I just keep going and going and going and going. Did anything ever come out of that? Did you ever talk with them? No.
No, I reached out to her one more time. So what happened was she told me that her mother knew more of the story. So she was talking about her sister was the focus, but her mother knew more of the story. And she said, let me talk to my mother. So there you go. That takes all the fun out of it. I got to talk to her mom instead of the 20-year-old hot chick at the bar. Hey, let me talk to my mom and see if it's okay. I'm like, fuck, all right. But anyways,
genetics, you never know. Looks, right?
Right. I mean, there's some hot moms. Don't get me wrong. Anyway, so and in fact, there's hot grandmas. Don't get me wrong. But anyways, the point being is that
hot nuns.
There's hot nuns, and I'll tell you that much. I got a sweater about that. But the point being is that, yeah, I did let some time go by, and I finally, and then I realized because I have social anxiety, I sent her a message that said this. I said, I don't want to keep hounding you. So I'm going to ask one more time if you or your mom, want to get together. And no, I didn't word it that way. Wanted to go on an interview. And I said, and if you do, please reach out to me, but I'm not going to keep bugging you. So this will be the last message if I don't hear from you. And I never heard from her again. And I just didn't want to be the creepazoid who was using the excuse to have her phone number to contact her all the time. So that was it. I sent her a message and I said specifically, I'm not going to keep bugging you. If you want to go on with me or your mom wants to go on and talk to the story, I'd love to have you. And never heard from her again.
And just to clarify, she had said that her sister is now dating the guy who was with Kaylee, meeting with Jack, or
yeah, the way I thought she said it was her sister is dating the guy who was dating Kaylee at the time that the murders happened, and that he was at the corner club with her. But
I don't know why. I just read that in such a burn, like crumple Stitzel skin. Said well played, sir. Not.
I make a lot of really bad faux pas in my attempt to not be embarrassing. I embarrass myself more. It's what I do. But,
yeah, it is kind of remarkable that we both found females to say that they want to spend the rest of our lives with us, isn't it?
Right. Like, well, I mean, my wife kind of dug this, my stupidity and my sense of humor and my boyish charm, so It is what it is. It comes with this
boyish charm. I've never heard
boyish charm. Yeah. My boyish charm. I'm like a little kid.
Because, dude, like, that could have been such a bombshell if that would have been the case and it would have led to something. I remember you called me, you're like, this is crazy, dude.
I thought it was. I thought it was going to be big. I thought it was going to be big.
And that's what she said.